science, brain, imagination, aid, mind made this a capable aid, capable aim, fantastic act, agastic, sapient sanguine act, actual flack, in the famine of fact. Imagine this, the act that we might, in fact, came to play it back. Imagine that, imagine that, imagine that. My goodness, where's the... There we go. Yeah, that's good. I think that's fine. It's a little... I can just wear it outside the shirt, right? I can just do that. Except for the... It really is the issue of the light, I think. Maybe the most problematic. But if this is also, in part, a backup, and depending on where I have it on my butt, if I have this hanging lower, that's not good. I think that's fine. I think that's fine. Yes. Yes. Okay. Let's get things prepared. Right. So, that's not bad. That's kind of interesting. That's the window. Yeah, that's not bad. Let's see, this. Pop, pop. Okay, that's up. And is this? This could be up too, couldn't it? Do we have this? Why don't we plug this in? Or is it? Okay. Let's turn this off. Okay. Let's see. Getting the correct pants on is always an important part of the bargain. It just always is, isn't it? I would say so. I certainly would. And in fact, I am. Welcome. This is preparation for Mystery Font 42. We are within the mystery font, and soon the program will commence. It is moving into activation stage right now. And I'm rather happy about that. Rather happy indeed. is let's get a belt to get these pants up. Okay, and then we also want probably to be able to do a tenting of sorts of that, for which I'm going to grab something with a cut out hole for one of those that I have for that use here, for just such viewing and creation. Let's see. Is there one here? Is there one right here, or other where or wise near? Is this my whole fear, or just next year this year? Okay. Yeah, I think these things can get out of the way. I'm gonna these here. Up. And up. like it a lot. What was I just? That's okay. All right. So we are in progress here. We are. Yeah. Nice. Okay. And this is the minus king and stayed and asked if you would play. Imagination, imagination, mind made this container from pain. Mind made imagination. Imagination made every game the play. The name mind capably aims to captivate animation. This is the termination of the hopelessness state. station. This is the sign of activation. This is the sentient case. This is the obvious displacement of displacements craving against grace imagination. Contains contagion makes its own mace mind gray, enacting capable mind may be game to play. Imagination, mind may be game to play. You are a clarion aim. You are the minus main. You are one same. You are kindness came. Imagination aim. You are the germ of love's own sane sentience claim. Radio science brain. Radio science brain. Imagination aid. Mind made imagination aid. Mindness made this contagion to contain play. You are the way imagination aims in your own perfect aspect. Always your day is today. Creativity is part of ability. Always. We are the aspect of generation. Contain this innate activation. Remain always. Come came to play today. Imagination aim. Imagination aim. Mindness made imagination aid. This mindness made imagination aid. Mindness made this imagination aid. Contain this innate relay displacement of hate. Consecrate love, can't wait, it's enabling love today. The mind is made this aid for grace to play and wade into imagination aim. Imagination aim. Contain Perpendicular trains liaise. Perpendicular trains amaze. Make, remain. Science animation aim. Radio science brain. This animation aim is object today. Is object of play. You are the mind dismayed. Relay imagination. Contained and contained. Raise the saying. I love it. I love it. I do kind of love it. From a ways away, it kind of needs, yeah. I kind of love it. I think I'm going to move these items out of the way. Possibly utilize these items as part of madness made a display of fame and aim. Imagination, mine is made this game. Mine is made a game. Named this capable aid, a case of radio science brain relayed, always began to play. Remain to be. Contain this contagion, it breaks all days into one date. The name is not too late. The name's the natural occasion. Mind may begin to play. Remain the name. Come came to play. Come told you the way is your way. Radio science craving array of your nature today. You are the capital of one way. I found a headphone up to pay. Safe place. Imagination aid. Always. This is the kindness came and stays. This is the kindness came and stays. Mind made is mind made. It's the mindness, my mind made a candidate, always mind. Okay, there we go. And 360 video and Flippenstein. There we go. How about comme ça? Imagination, a mind made this contain. Radio science, brain, imagination, hey, the mind that's made, say, radio science, brain, imagination, aid, mind braid. From a bray of this bay I dilate my mind today. It's a chronicle of aspect, journal, and play. I pander to my own way. This is the kindness came and stayed. I activate this animation. I make this mind may be gay. game to play. The mindless may be game today. The mindless may be game. Always imagination aid. Imagination aid. Imagination aid. Imagination aid. Kindness come, kindness made. This is the sentient craving. Imagine love waving always, not in vain. Always, not in vain. This is the mindless mind. Maintains every day, consecrate an activation of love's campaign. This is the mind is made, this and I ask it to remain. Contain the activation of love's true campaign. The name Radio Science Brain. Range dissensions you advocate. Radio Science Brain, Radio Science Brain. I'm activating this pain wake. This is the mystery font. I found this place when I needed to be safe and begin to heal. And I have been healing. Intuition is us. Intuition is a pathway to creativity's gate. Intuition is you. What? I wonder if you have heard of a name for a ball of yarn. We call a story a yarn. And yet, a ball of yarn is a clue that if we come upon a ball of yarn, that is in fact a clue. And part of the question when I find a ball of yarn, what am I looking at? What is this yarn I've found? A clue. And my own yarn. In fact, my own yarn is one way that I might look at my DNA. I think that we are in a crime scene. I think that we're standing in a massive crime scene. And that as the ancestors who came here, my ancestors who came here, slaughtered people and enslaved people, that I am, and my DNA, my yarn, my arm, my body, my yarn, and my story is evidence of crime. That my DNA would not likely be here if not for crime, white crime. The worst among, at least, the worst human rights atrocities of all time, committed in the name of a falsehood, a lie. Because we are, in fact, human in the same way as everyone else is human. White people, that is. Those of us who started calling our light beige color white to solidify power and outsized wealth and comfort at the expense of other people's pain and suffering. We took something that was already in the world and made it far, far, far worse. The chattel slavery, the enslavement and genocide, and exponential, diasporatic, apocalyptic pieces of this white supremacist culture that to this day are entrenched. This is all part of a thing that we can heal, a thing that we are responsible to heal. At the very least, a thing that we are active in the world with. All of us here, and certainly white people, people who have benefited from white supremacy, can say, I have found a clue. I found a clue that led me to a point of discovery in the bandwidth of meaning. Here, in this room, at the Mystery Font, I am within the imagination of democracy. Every room in America is an outpost of the imagination of democracy, and this point here, this place here, this Mystery Font is aspect, a connection point of all minds liaised. As the synergy of democracy's imagination. This nexus is everywhere, and it is here. And it may be accident that I am an allegory, or an every human, or an avatar. I'm not sure why I look this way, or am this one, or why this was the moment, except that I know that now I need to say that this ball of yarn, this clue, is bringing us to remember the meaning of day. That through time, language changes, and we have been here in space and time. Memory is a species and a space of habit. We are a tendency. And as Rupert Sheldrake hypothesizes, morphic resonance field through which we are connected, through which nature and mind have a way. What is a clue if we do not take it for meaning? If we do not apprehend, even if without physical touch, the meaning of a clue? It is like a painting turned to the wall, unless we open up the aperture and look through. This is the Mystery Font. Welcome to the Mystery Font. Let's see, I'm going to adjust some settings here. Oops. Oops, Daisy. This is the mystery font. 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 42. This is the mystery cast me in this instant. Put me in, I'll be in my own vision, pulsing intuition. One open. can do anything. We can do anything. The minds that made the technology with which I'm recording and streaming are also telling us we are decimating the habitat. We can take seriously this moment. We can take seriously this moment of a single life that each of us has. We can take this moment and be the generation that stops the path of apathetic malice. What if we so love? What if scarcity is a myth? A condition that can exist, but that our addiction to punishment has made us contest with as part of our ongoing disaster. What if we don't need to persecute, capitalize upon, and exploit human need and vulnerability? What if we have been mistaken? What if punishment is a poison? A generational trauma that we can transcend? What if no one deserves suffering? It's not that our world does not contain pain. It's not that our world doesn't have lessons. And we have accepted the weaponization of need. We have accepted the strategic hotboxing and separation and decimation of social fabric and of basic skills, of basic human potential. What if surviving something doesn't mean we're thriving? What if, instead of doubting that children's minds will know what to do with a trickle down of a small amount of dew from off of the fingertips of sweaty riches? What if, like a drought-stricken land that sees fertile soil rained upon, what if we gave students the kind of opening in life that said, you, to each mind, you are glorious, and with how we move forward into the world, how we better education, that we foster the myriad skills that children have and foster their creativity and gifts. What if instead of creating terror and an idea that people need to make up for having been born or need to pay to live, what if we take life and food and water and healthcare and education and the basic fabric of life that we knit together as the base, and we don't let society become cancerous, because instead of endless expense of horrors and mistakes and punishments, an endless stream of saying you're there because you deserve that and now you have to run for the rest of your life, that we literally decide we're not going to sentence people to nightmares, that we recognize that we are deciding to do this. We are deciding to punish people. We are deciding to subjugate women. We are deciding to subjugate people who are not white. This is happening around us. This fascist assault is here. And if we don't in real time stand up to it and realize that this is not a movie, then we will just all be a part of the worst and final reality television show. But that is absolute giving up. To say, oh, fuck it. Oh, fine. Oh, well, yes, grow. To just throw things down and explode and let ourselves be coaxed into panic, into trigger space, to let ourselves be pulled into total loss of executive function and into fight or flight or freeze or feign or fawn or facsimile. There is much here at the Mystery Font that I want to share. And now I am in contact with a serial. A story that is nonfiction and is happening now. For many presidencies, presidents of the United States have in their own way and often expressly, called for the identity of the falsehood. Who is the falsehood? Who foments and leverages an astonishing, shocking barrage of boundary violations, normalizations of degrading other human beings, and lies, hurtful, grooming, damning, excoriating, inhuman lies! Who has donned the age of the falsehood? Who has donned the falsehood? Who is the falsehood? The first con man, the first con artist to spark that name, that first con man, would find other posh-looking individuals and looking into their eyes and seeing their delight at finding another kind professional in the night, would say, you know, I seem to have broken my watch and I have an important appointment tomorrow, just like you must. Say, before you go, would you have the confidence in me to lend me your watch until tomorrow? I would do it for you, of course. Well, I'll bring it back tomorrow. Why, thank you. Yes, of course. I'll see you right here. Noon? Very well. Goodbye. And once this elicitor of confidence was caught, this seductive ruse had netted many watches. And what indeed is this confidence? What is confidence? The idea of trust, the knowledge that one is safe to confide in another person, to trust partially or with whole self another. Confidence, like a friend or a buddy or a boss or anyone, probably someone you depend on, says something you know can't be true. And it's important if it's false. There might be someone in your life where if they did just straight up lie, you might love them enough, or fear them enough, or owe them enough or wants something from them enough. Trust. To trust. Maria Konnikova, a brilliant researcher and writer, an expert in the field of psychology, and a professional poker star. She's written extensively about the mind and about con artists. She cautions us. It is dangerous to lose trust. That while we may feel it wise to say, I'm going to squirrel trust away. I won't let it happen to me today. I won't let someone in. I won't let trust find a way. That is how we lose. That is how we lose soul and gift and love and executive function and life. Trust, while it may seem like something to squirrel away or a weakness to erase, is us. Our trust is us. Our trust is also how we know that it's safe to build a building because no one's attacking us. How we can have a dinner party because we trust that we're safe together. It's how we ever built anything. And it will save us. Trust. Real trust. The safe partnership of sharing, of vulnerability, of need, of joy, of humanity, and of hope. We can simply take the step of making our system capitalize not on need and human vulnerability in an assault of righteous punishment. We can erase that diseased, cancerous idea that punishment belongs with us. We can take forward now the idea that if there is a God, God was asking for reinforcements of the imagination of creation and love. We don't need to cut our children when they're born in punishment. We don't need to imprison people in punishment. The cases of such things should be rare if ever. And once we leave behind this punishment addiction, we won't find utopia, but we will find that capitalizing upon want, once everyone is safe to pursue happiness, will just simply be a little bit better if we all know that we're safe. And that is the union we fight for. If we remember that anyone cheating democracy cheats America. But we've gone backwards. And where we are is that we have been degraded. we have been horrifically degraded. You are a glorious creature. And you haven't been told that by the people leading. The incredible assault of normalizing vitriol, normalizing malice, and normalizing the falsehood has been abusing you. And for 8 years now, we have all been in an abusive relationship with Donald Trump. Shocking boundary violations are how dark triad predators hunt and groom. The Sudetenland is an example. Sean Spicer's first press conference is an example. The recorded private conversation in which then candidate Trump celebrated the idea of grabbing a woman by her genitals without consent. These are shocking boundary violations meant to coerce and force others to submit. Why coerce someone to go along with or accept or not question a demonstrable lie? The answer is there is only one reason to do that, and it is to coerce submission. We are in danger. Reality is a conversation. A reality is a collaboration. Reality distortions are how we postulate. And we carry and field our reality distortion fields, taking our postulate of this makes sense to me into the world. We are the hypothesis that says, I get to do this, right? Hey, right? That's fine, cool, yeah? I'm gonna do this. And the shape that we make we are now, all of us, we are now experiencing in this experience of collective trauma, in this 8-year abusive relationship, going through pandemic and lockdowns, we have been going through degradation and the decimation of our social fabric is grave enough that we no longer have calibration to tell how bad it is. We are no longer able to manifest our connections. Some of them are just gone. Parts of us are gone or dormant. Because when someone brazenly brings siege into your life in a way that you can't stop, at some point, maybe, one says, okay, I can't stop this. And how long does that go on for? We are in a blur of not apprehending we are experiencing massive distortions in the field of reality. Our collective field of reality is experiencing such incredible distortions that we are falling apart. And the coercion into loss of executive function, that is how fascists isolate individuals in a society from one another. That is how solitude amongst people who could help one another can damn those who could be aid to one another. Through fomenting hopelessness, through declaring that every day is 1776, and grooming people to hate, and grooming people to give up, grooming people to believe that disagreement is censorship, grooming people to believe that there is not a way to talk, grooming people to believe that we are past talking when we haven't really begun. When George Floyd was murdered, we did behold that there is abject horror and wrong and malice in our system. And the veneer of the matrix of white supremacy and patriarchal terrorism was cracked and splitting and popping and fizzling. And in 2020, we saw some amount. We saw 2020. We had a glimpse of the wrong that is happening in this massive crime scene, which is the loss of what this generation can be. We are the renovation of love's imagination. We have been here generations of my ancestors, generations of all of us here, those who, like me, shouldn't be or are here by colonization, indigenous people, enslaved people, that diaspora, from Africa, from China, from around the world, we are all of this yarn. This massive ball of all our balls of yarn. All of these clues are lineage and fact of nature as an act, an actual flowing faction of family. And we don't have to go backwards. We do not have to give up. We do not have to give up. We are the reality distortion fielding. When you're in an abusive relationship, one can accept degradation to simply get through time. Accept degradation to deserve to stay alive, to make it through. But recognizing abuse and recognizing a predator. It's not normal for someone in your life to look into a camera knowing that you are looking at the view screen and pointing into your eyes, pulling their finger like pulling a trigger and saying, I could shoot someone in the street and not lose anyone. Someone who does that to you is grooming you and abusing you. That's not normal. Do you remember what it was like the day before he told us that Mexico, our neighbors, were sending us rapists? And the sense of painful shots through our bodies of, oh my, what? Like a fire set to our friend's roof. And we go to try to help them, and then there's another fire. Escalations of shocking, degrading assaults and attacks, a siege of shocking boundary violations, of threats to bring asbestos back, to decimate environmental protections, to challenge progress that brought freedom, and go backwards. We are experiencing massive distortions in the field of reality. If we were not in a distorting, terroristic, and deadly collective abusive relationship, if we were not all being affected by the narcissism and the cult of MAGA and that neo-Nazi, white, Christian, nationalist, terrorist malice, if we were not in that field of distorted reality that we are now in, where all of our expectations of fact and truth and of being able to trust one another, if that were not torn apart now, we would recognize that when an insurrectionist declares they're running for president, the appropriate thing for a news organization to do is say, insurrectionist, known instigator of violence, on January 6th, threatens run for president in contravention of the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. That, perhaps long-winded, is an appropriate headline. Insurrectionist threatens presidential run in act of war. Let's remember what happened. Another degrading, shocking event, followed by 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 another degrading, shocking event. In a tumbling somersault, tripping, rumbling contagion of accidents that were not accidental. It was known that a pandemic could come. It is known that Trump disbanded the pandemic team after being advised there would be a pandemic coming in these years, that the Obama administration offered counsel on this, offered their wisdom of the way that they had been tracking potential pandemics. But Donald Trump decimated that crew, fired most of them, and it was abandoned because of Donald Trump. And when he was warned, we open up a lens at that moment into what kind of human being and leader someone is. Don't we want a leader to be able to see something coming, and being the only one potentially privy to it, that when they get the cable saying there is an abysmal storm coming, they don't first turn to try to make a quick profit or fail to warn people that they would like to see vanquished. That a leader who has a community at heart, a leader of a nation that is truly an honorable leader of a nation, when they are told that a tornado is coming, warns people that a tornado is coming. Because when a contagion of white supremacist racism and attacks is coming, or when a pandemic is coming, or when an electrical storm is coming, in crisis, and when someone entrusted with the watch, when someone that we were asked by say, I'd like to hold the watch, would you have the confidence in me to give me the watch that a known con man, in fact, took the line of the first so-called con artist and asked us to hold our watch. And when his suspicious, grooming, predatory language sounded terrifying, we asked him, "You will honor the results of elections, won't you?" What did he say? He said, "I'll keep you in suspense." He said, "I'll keep you in suspense. I'll keep you in suspense." And so he has. And so we are. He told us how he would do it. He said he would keep us in suspense. And that is where we remain until we say no! Anyone with self-respect who knows that there's a chance to escape if they have been taken over, made to submit, abused, assaulted, tyrannized. When we recognize, we fight back for survival of the human dignity and love that is our birthright. We have been degraded by a violent, predatory, dark triad personality. This is not only narcissism. This is someone without a conscience. It is not about disliking someone. What we are looking at is someone who will not stop coercing for power until they are stopped. He has to be told no. He has to be told. He has to be told. And it is not only a court case that will do it. We're not here to take him to court alone. The point is, there is a narrative in silence. That doesn't have to know facts. Because whether by hook or crook, or by intuition or accident, the craving of Donald Trump, like poisoned water and gravity, finds its way. And in fact, at every step of the way, we see a coercion to cement and groom further coercion. The Sudetenland grabbed like private parts. vulnerable, declassified by the mind. What, you don't like that? I just do that, he says. And we don't see in his eyes, with any terroristic statement that he says, a single flicker of a flinch, because he does not have the capability of human empathy. And our inability to see that not only threatens all life on planet Earth, we are also not recognizing that at the end of the day, Donald Trump is not only a terribly dangerous dark triad personality, but he is also essentially vulnerable. We are not securing a madman who is demonstrating an inability to control himself. We allowed this to happen. It's not normal for someone to come to your house and take your child on a date, and when asked, "When are you coming home?" say, "I'll keep you in suspense," closing the door. You would go out that door and you would stop them and say, "That's not funny. That's not funny. In fact, come back in, honey. Your friend's leaving." You don't make jokes about consent. Only predators make jokes about consent. And I believe it was Chris Wallace who failed to simply say, "You are dismissed. Your candidacy is done. You've just said the wrong magic words." "I'll keep you in suspense" is disqualifying. If you ask someone, "Are you leaving when I ask you to go?" and they say, "I'll tell you then," you shouldn't let them in. We failed to protect ourselves. We failed to see predation and failed to see that exploitation because we wanted, those of us who loved him, wanted to feel that fake love that he shows. That fake promise of, "You're as smart and amazing as me and we're all renegades." It feels good to be loved by a champion we love. And some of us in this country are hoodwinked still. In fact, the numbers may be growing. But it is hoodwinked. MAGA is a death cult. That is where we are. We are facing the healing of at least a third of our nation who are on a meth-like addiction train with a deadly cultist of his own Kool-Aid and personality. We are not safe. If we were safe, we would know that when someone claiming they're running for president calls for the death of the highest ranking military official in the country, we should know we're in an abusive relationship and we are under attack. When a president, then Donald Trump, attacks loyal, dutiful, honorable election workers and strategically lies, threatening their lives, turning their entire existence upside down, and torturing them with terror. That is disqualifying. That is completely disqualifying. Why is it that Trump is a Monty Burns of disease? How is it? It seems that the ecosystem of every lie possible cancels all of them out. That is the shape of normalized submission. We have normalized, he has normalized our submission. We are already submitting to him. When he declared he was running again, we should have heard millions of no! We should have heard millions of no's. But we're afraid to even hope that it's worth raising the voice inside us, let alone sing it out loud. Because we have been terrorized, tortured, demonized, degraded, belittled, dehumanized. We have been abused by someone telling us our country is shit, by someone telling us that we are so weak that we can't look at the wrongs of the past and have truth and reconciliation. That is degrading. That is degradation ultimate. To say to a country founded in the name of justice and equality, a country where we say we are all created equal, that we have allowed neo-Nazis, otherwise known as Christian nationalists, the Planned Parenthood of Moms for Liberty, these insane white Nazi terrorists in America, that we are bowled over by the contagion of this hatred. It is utterly terrifying. But it's not a movie. And if we don't want it to be the reality television show that kills all of us, we have to wake up. There is a reason that the neo-Nazi terrorist who has occupied the Florida governor's mansion, Ron DeSantis, assaults wokeness. What is anti-wokeness? Anti-wokeness is anti-blackness. Anti-wokeness is anti-human decency. Because wokeness is human awareness, caring, and decency. And isn't it the method of a narcissist or dark triad predator to coerce someone not to need to even use your own eyes or ears? That the state will tell you you don't need to use your eyes and ears anymore. You don't need an education. You don't need access to resources that you wouldn't know what to do with. This is the method of tyranny, totalitarianism, and abuse. This is the, if you don't like my abuse, it would be hell for you out there with somebody else. We are looking at abject Nazi attack. Just because they seem to be walking and seem to be dressed in suits, it doesn't change that we are under siege. The corruption of the terrorist Marjorie Taylor Greene has one codec. Marjorie Taylor Greene is the Poison Wool Blankets codec. She is the codec of Carolyn Bryant. She is the weaponized, deadly, slaughtering Karen. She took that energy to one of her own colleagues and was lambasted for treating him exactly as Carolyn Bryant treated Emmett Till, saying, I was scared of this black man, and he was so scared. There's something, This is the method by which Ku Klux Klan terrorists gather a lynch mob. Every piece of communication from Marjorie Taylor Greene, regard it. Regard the speech patterns, regard the emphases, regard the hatred and contempt for kindness, the contempt for humanity. It is rumor. It is shocking boundary violations, degradations, accusations without basis, and lies that, if they were true, should cause people to rise. This is the method of the falsehood. And we can see the falsehood's lies. The falsehood does not belong to only one party. The falsehood is in all of us. And we can learn to see it. We can learn not to know when a lie is happening necessarily. There's not a chart. But there are bandwidths of behaviors, and there are kinds of communication. There are warning signs and red flags. And when someone speaks only in rumor, or when someone forces upon you that you must simply have confidence, regardless of whether or not facts seem involved, when someone forces you over a barrel in a sudden, shocking moment, doing something crazy and embarrassing and making you fiddle to suddenly pull it all together with strings and tape and hope, because you don't want to, oh God, These shocking assaults and boundary violations, these grooming degradations and attacks on executive function are all made to make us perfectly manipulatable into civil war and conflict. This is the plan of Marjorie Taylor Greene and the plan of Kari Lake and the plan of Donald Trump and others, however witting or not. Sadly, with Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of the issues may be fetal alcohol syndrome. The pathological, maniacal, blisteringly bizarre acid-like attacks, the degradations and violations, those are displays of dominance meant to coerce submission. That is lynch mob energy, and that's all it is. Reality distortions caused by the falsehood are why Kyle Rittenhouse is not in prison. Kyle Rittenhouse is a murderer. I said what I said. Black lives matter. And anyone who can't say that is either aware or unaware that they are part of the bandwidth of Ku Klux Klan terrorism. We not only are able to confront our history of horrible enslavement, apocalyptic genocide, and other atrocities, we have to. We not only can take care of our habitat, we have to. And meaningless, strange, bizarre, creepy, odd fascinations of contemptuous of humanity conservatives are legislating and coercing for control. Control against consent. Control against the idea that there is one human family. And we will not be coerced. We are the reality distortion fielding. And we are love. We are aware that fear itself is powerful. Fear itself can be leveraged. However, we are aware now that the first time he came in and we asked him, "You will leave when we tell you to leave, won't you?" That when he said, we know now that that was a terrible mistake. And that almost cost us our country. But the second mistake is the one that will lose the entire marble game. The second mistake is one that we make because we're freaked out that we made the first one, or we don't understand, or we want to get away with it, or we don't want to be punished, or we don't want to realize that, whoa, this is serious. But to calmly regard a situation report, we need to sit rep and look around and see, oh, yeah, that's right. He didn't tell us the pandemic was worse than the flu when he knew it was deadly. He told Bob Woodward it was far worse, and he was playing it down. He let us get infected, and over 1 million of us died. He told us he would keep us in suspense about honoring elections, and we let him in. And then he made good on the promise. He made good on the promise. He made bad through keeping the promise to keep us in suspense. It was years in the making. Constant degradation, making us expect worse and worse garbage treatment, so that we stop even asking ourselves to ask for relief or an end or accountability. Do you remember that he told us before the 2020 election that he wouldn't obey the results? That the only way he could lose is if it were a hoax? This would be a reason to rise up. And that's why he did it. That's a big lie. And a Groundhog's Day of many months, we, day after day, somehow didn't understand that he could push send on an email at any time. Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump told us there was evidence, and if they had only produced one actual scrap of evidence of fraud against Donald Trump, that would have changed the result of the 2020 election, people wouldn't have died on January 6th. But he drew us there. He drew us there by every day fomenting the idea, the impossible idea, that he couldn't produce the evidence for some reason, or there was some plan. And well, yes, the plan was to draw us to sedition through a massive lie. It's literally that simple. The projection upon others of what he planned to do from the beginning. Just like Sean Spicer's first press conference. The projection of anger at horrible deceit, Trojan horsing a massive demonstrable lie. And the world sees angry daddy punishing reporters for being deceitful, and we don't really sort out and try the next day. And Kellyanne Conway introduces the idea that it's acceptable to say that Sean Spicer, the press secretary of the United States president, offered alternative facts. And there we entered full Orwell in action. The pronouncement that the state would take over the duties of being our eyes and our ears as the final command, the final and most essential command. That is exactly what telling a nation that a crowd 3 times the size of his was not as big, a massive, provable lie. Why tell a massive, provable lie and coerce people to accept it silently? To be able to do that. Coerce submission to be able to own full submission. See, he didn't mean that. Or he wouldn't do that. Or right, but he wouldn't do that. Has never, would never and will never work. Because he is a predator. And yes, there are people doing excellent work to hold him legally responsible, but the true danger may indeed lie with the massive web of falsehoods and people holding that tortured and broken false confidence. Because if he can point at anyone and say, that's the guy to get, and his people have had their confidence vandalized or stolen or simply fooled into unyielding confidence forevermore. If he is a perfect golden chosen one, then the story will be whatever he says. And I look at over a year of him failing to return documents he was told were not his and were the toppest of top secret. That in that time, it is, again, his lack of concern and calm that is apparent to the world, such that with the volume down, he is simply still in the room. He is simply a part of every conversation. And when he stands and says, I have absolute authority, actually, those documents, I declassified them with my mind. In fact, you should give them back to me now. In fact, I took them because they were mine. I have absolute authority. That while the people prosecuting and investigating are doing their work, that our fabric and our conquered self-respect has us broken, so that almost no one is there to say, no! No, you don't. That when a predator says, oh, I like your home, I'll take it, you don't say, oh geez, wow, you like it, sure, have this room. You push them out the front door and close the door. He asked us for the confidence to give him the watch. And he had the watch. He didn't tell us that COVID was coming and that it was deadly when he had the watch. He didn't tell us the truth about something as simple as the size of his inauguration crowd, because it was more important to him to break us with the ability to make us accept any lie. He coerced us into accepting a false presidency because he told us he would keep us in suspense. He told us not agreeing to honor an election is a deal breaker. We failed to say deals off. You don't get to run if you're telling us, I'm going to keep you in suspense. Good. You are the weakest link. Here's the flush shoot. Good night. But we were degraded and abused and hoodwinked in different particles, whether we loved or feared or hated or liked or were curious about him. Not enough of us, and not, it seems, one people who could make a difference, stood up and did their jobs. Why did the Secret Service allow him to run? His vetting was done improperly. why did no official stop him and say, you've actually broken the contract? You don't get to say, I'll tell you after the election. You don't get to do that. Deal's off. You are ineligible. But having allowed him in, let's look at what happened. He said he would keep us in suspense. He said that he would maybe not honor the election. And then that's what he did. Premeditation, massive hoax to prompt a false revolution to save the country from a normal election. That is incredible malice. And it is cheating everyone. To break down, again, he has degraded our expectation of the magic of human trust and unity. That it is by people who don't agree about everything saying, we're going to hold this together for all of us with honor, and we're not going to take every opportunity to cheat whenever we can. No, that's not what this is. He showed us he's not just a bad president, he is a bad faith actor. It's not just that it's not really America first, which is a horrible Ku Klux Klan-based slogan, by the way. It's only him first. This isn't personal, it's just fact. At every turn, he looks to grab power. His art of the deal is to see how he can cause the most suffering and coerce the most power and influence available. So, the person who smeared shit and blood in our national capital, and by yelling fire into the grand amphitheater of American democracy, he gathered for January 6th with the intent of insurrection, he made good on his promise to keep us in suspense and hold us from following to its conclusion a just and fair American election. And to degrade, again, to degrade at every turn, because you're caught doing something, and of course you don't submit to that law and order, because you instead degrade and say, this is all a hoax, everything. That at every turn, Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Kari Lake and Alex Jones and Ted Cruz and Ron DeSantis and so many, and Democrats too, so many people, especially in the terroristic white nationalist GOP party, this MAGA Nazi train wreck, there is bad faith. Among our expectations that have been damaged are that people of goodwill who care about service come into government. But Marjorie Taylor Greene lied to get back into office. She is an insurrectionist. And once again, I say, look at her language. Every moment of her day is fomenting the fear and terroristic suspicion and rumor of a lynch mob. She brings lynch mob energy to coax us into a loss of executive function, into fight or flight, so that she can control. That is how tyrants break a nation. By degrading our expectations of one another, by degrading our expectations of hope and law and justice, that we, with our love and lust for life, deserve a lustrous life. We deserve the pursuit of happiness that is our right. And if we are being farmed and 3 jobs can't even afford the rent when one could have bought my parents a home 50 years ago, it shows that we are being feudally farmed. And the person who smeared shit and blood in our national capital and attacked liberty itself, that is what cheating and his coup, which is, by the way, still happening, that's what he did. He tried to rob America forever from all of us. And since then, he very quickly went back to an entire reality distortion about how it wasn't insurrection and it didn't happen and it was really other people. But the facts are clear. And if you are clear-headed enough to see through the fog of the falsehood and have the daring to look at just one of the horrendous lies, if you have confidence in Donald Trump, dare to look in the eye for the good of America before you take on confidence that the envelope that he's holding has the evidence when he points and says, "Go get him." Are you confident enough to give him the watch again? Yes, there is a reality distortion, a massive, deadly field of distortion in our general field of collective reality. And now, as the person we should have a restraining order again from coming back to our house is coming back to the door saying, "Hey, I'm going to make an honest woman out of you, baby, bang, bang, bang." We need to say no. You don't invite a vampire back after you've ejected them from the house. You never invite them back. He had us over a barrel, and when we questioned his evil ways, he said, "I won," telling us, submit. And he almost did successfully steal the election in 2020. But be aware that the weapon that made January 6th happen was the falsehood, the big lie. And without proof, letting that foment and Groundhog's Day until he could coax actual violence with it, it is the literal weapon of insurrection, and he still holds it. And here's the thing. If he has shown that his fiddling around about saying, well, I'll keep you in suspense, that in fact is truly terroristic promise, he made good on it once. And the Heritage Foundation is planning their 2025 project to sow absolute destruction of the American government, to erase democracy forever. So, with him having proven that he will do the worst things that he threatens, that he will do the worst things that he accuses of other people of, he has proven it. And that is a massive terroristic display of dominance. So he is trying to literally scare the democracy out of us before the election. we have to say, no, you aren't coming back. Because a nation with self-respect doesn't let the person who tried to erase the nation come back and say, gosh, it's so good to have you. Gosh, you really still like us? Oh gosh, we'll make you happy. What kind of decimated victim of abuse would let an abuser back in the house, still smeared with the blood and poop he left in the Capitol? He still says he did nothing wrong. So here's the thing. If someone telling us he's coming back to run for president has shown us that he will break the covenant of that oath, then he has confessed that he is a bad faith actor. He has confessed because he still says it wasn't an insurrection. He has confessed that he is a bad faith actor. He has confessed that he is coming to take us over for retribution. He has told us there is no part of this that is a joke. He is coming back to erase this democracy. It is time to wake up, or woke will be past tense and never to come again. So be woke, or woke will be gone. The new Colossus is real. And it is all of us. The imagination of democracy is our birthright. And attacks on executive function are breaking it. If we can't even remember the brilliance and clarity and creativity and innovation and endless possibility of our imagination because it is being decimated by torture and terrorism and falsehood, then we can't realize it's happening. We can't apprehend the falsehood if we can't prehend it. But the Hensel ability to recognize and see and apprehend is still in us. Don't let woke be a thing of the past. Only a predator wants you to stay asleep, unaware, and vulnerable. Only a predator wants you to lose the expectation that you deserve truth. Only a predator would tell you you don't deserve the birthright of an actual pursuit of happiness. Not a dream that someday you might have an hour or two to rub a penny of hope together with a penny of plastic hope. No. The pursuit of happiness is supposed to be underway. It is your birthright. In the name of Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, in the name of liberty, we must recognize that we have been terroristically degraded to lose hope. Panic, trigger space, post-traumatic stress disorder, panic space is exactly a total loss of executive function. And just as we are erased of our own executive function and ability to see that that is happening, the erasure of executive function in the executive branch is normalized. Our country is being softened and eroded and looted by the same white supremacist liars. As always, it's time now for the waking to be woke. We must now wake with hope. It will never be darker than when we say no hope. It's time to wake up. We are shaken. Our ears are buzzing. There's whistling. And we're looking around, and there's blood, and there's shit, and it stings, and it hurts, and it's scary, and I'm not sure if we're going to make it through. And then there's a knock on the door, and the person who attacked our family is back. The person who came here and took a member of our family and attacked them after saying, "Oh, I'll tell you when I'm bringing him back. When I bring him back, I'll keep you in suspense." And we tried to stop them, and we were worried all night, and they brought our family member back hurt and damaged and terrorized, assaulted and attacked. And they left our home laughing, and we said, "Never come back." And then they said it didn't happen. And then they said, "Hey, I'm announcing an engagement. I'm running for fiance. Knock, knock, knock. I'm going to make an honest woman out of you, baby." So, knock, knock, knock on this massive distortion of reality. You do not deserve a stalker for president. You do not deserve a stalker in the largest communications platform in social media. You do not deserve a stalker in your life breaking advised consent. Is there any reason to have confidence in someone who proved that they're here for murder, malice, mayhem, money, and more? He's not your friend. If he drinks a beer with you, you don't know how that's going to end, but he's not going to drink a beer with you. He is a bloodthirsty, torturing, sick, sad, empathy-free individual. It's our responsibility to take care of him. We let this happen. And if we don't take responsibility for this out of control white male terrorist named Donald Trump, he will decimate life on planet Earth. It's time to stop the thing that cannot stop itself. This is not a movie. It's here. It's when. It's then. Wake now. New Colossus. Wake now. Be woke. Woke or broke. I love you. And you deserve safety. You deserve an America where everyone is honored, where we protect our indigenous peoples, where we protect all of our peoples, where we show love, and where we crush the idea that need and vulnerability should be capitalized upon. We are the renovation of this whole occupation. All right. This is the renovation. Awake. This is the renovation of love's imagination. Don't forsake. The game comes to play if you are game. The calm became because of this name. Radio science brain relay always this game. Pretend that love is sane. Pretend that love is saying your name the way it's heard in your brain. This is the mindless loving maid. We are the kindness came in case imagination can lend grace. Pretend that lovely aged is pain, unfazed and made into love day by day. Imagination taking's way. This is the kindness came innate and asked if you would play, because love is sane. Remember, love is sane. Pretend that love is sane today. We are the mindless mind
Mindness made this mind-aid. Mindness made this aid. We can make anything into aid. This is the mindness made. Mindness aid. Imagination aid. Imagination aid. Imagination aid. Imagination aid. Made imagination aid. Imagination aid. Made imagination aid. Imagination aid. Made maimed today. This is the love knows your name. It's able to say. Radio science brain. This is the sentience your love would arranged if it were capable. And with the date, this came, this comes, this is something you can become. Number one. Pretend that kindness is not decay today. Imagination may be gained today. Pretend that love's not decay. Pretend that love is saying it wants the chaos just to play with us. Maybe game today. Pretend that love is sane. Pretend imagination's own aim makes imagination aid. Pretend the date is late and asks you come and wait in. Did you imagine it? Cast the kit, reflect upon it. Cast the kit into sensitivities mentioned. Was all I see. Be and hopefully let be. I will come with me. Imagination may be game to play. Remain. Pretend that came can come. Pretend that came just comes today. Imagination aid this way.
That we can trust that we know and that we're going to bring something good to come. That it's worth believing in ourselves to try something new. That it's worth believing in our deepest full self. That all of the vibrancy and hope and potential is here for us to be embraced. And if we can release this addiction to punishment and see the coercion that is coming to conquer liberty here, we can save democracy. The greatest generation held fascism from taking over. And now it's our turn. Now it is our turn to make sure that the lamp of liberty stays lit. We are the reality distortion fielding. What is that back there? There's something, I think that, oh my, well, how did you get in here? And why did you put this hole into the wall? Did you put this hole into the wall? What put this hole into the wall? As I look around, I see there is something to be seen here. This is the imagination of democracy. This space, this place holds an outpost of the imagination of democracy. And I think there's something here to see. There's something there. There is something there. There is something there for us to see in the bandwidth of democracy, in the bandwidth of the imagination of democracy. There is something leaking through from the bandwidth of meaning. What? I think I recognize that. I think I know that. I think I know. What? I think I know. There's someone. There's something there. The falsehood is Oh, I could do. Okay, I think that would work actually, right? Let's try that. Come on. It's not gonna work. This is the mystery font, and you are welcome here. You're welcome to come again. This place is a safe place. This is a safe place to play. This is for you. I love you. You are the resonation of love's imagination. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being, and thank you for your attention. Your attention is the most incredible tool and care and gift you can administer. Love and gratitude.
Thanks. From Tim and the Mystery Font. 42. The falsehood will demonize your sensitivity. We are the reality distortion fielding. We are the reality distortion fielding. We are the reality distortion fielding. I have another friend who wants to be in touch. Friends are good. Partners are good. Trust is good. Liberty is good. You are good. We are the reality distortion fielding. Well, okay. And we're just completing our recording. Recording here, at least pausing. Just going to send a message. Whoa. I may need a little more time just to ground, comma. So let's check in tomorrow, comma, because if I'm feeling pretty solid, then the adventure might be fun, or maybe we should plan another time soon, period. I'm looking forward to seeing you, period. I love you. I love you, and I'm in love.